The year is 1936, and a shadow looms over Europe and the Far East. The storm clouds of war are gathering as fascist and imperialistic governments plot to shatter the fragile peace that has held since the end of the Great War. Behind the scenes, the leaders of fascist Germany are on a relentless quest, scouring the globe for ancient occult artifacts of immense power to fuel their ambitions of world domination. But hope is not lost. 4 fearless adventurers have risen to the challenge, answering the call to thwart these sinister efforts and protect the world from the brink of chaos. Their mission: to make the world safe for democracy once again. Dive into an epic tale of intrigue and adventure as we embark on the thrilling journey of fortune and glory, The Cliffhanger Game by Flying Frog Productions. So join me for a heart-pounding ride where danger lurks around every corner and heroism knows no bounds.
Hello everyone, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club and welcome to my channel. I intended to bring you a different video than the one I'll be filming today. I was going to give you a preview video of a new board game that I added to my collection recently, but I woke up with an urge to try another attempt at Fortune and Glory, so that's what we'll be doing tonight. All of the advanced and expansion rules will be included in this game, along with the revised temple rules. Let's begin by taking a closer look at our 4 adventurers that we'll be using during the playthrough. Our first player is going to be Grant Jackson, Soldier of Fortune. He begins the game with a gear card, and we've randomly selected his gear card, and it turns out to be a personal library. That's going to give him a +1 to lore, and this is a immobile piece of gear, meaning that it's located at his home city. His home city is Cape Town, South Africa. And we can activate this card to cancel an event or villain event on a D6 roll of 5+. His personal mission is settle a score. Successfully sneak past a villain without them finding you, or defeat a villain in combat by doing more hits to them than they do to you. The reward is 2 fortune. Grant has some very interesting special abilities. He's mercenary. Starts the game with the gear card, which is his personal library. He's also rough and tumble. He has +1 adventure dice on any tests at a jungle or desert space. So we will definitely want to keep Grant in the equatorial region of the map where there are abundance of jungle and desert terrain, so he can gain those benefits. Grant is going to be the red player, and you'll notice I've got a red chip here on his card. When I'm playing solitaire, I like to facilitate the initiative and movement rolls by assigning each character a color and a dice of the same color. This way I can roll all the dice at once, quickly find out which character is going to have the initiative for the turn, and which characters will have free event cards on the rolls of 1s. So that really facilitates that procedure when you're playing solitaire. It also works for movement. You roll all 4, in this case 4 dice, and it quickly tells you the movement values of each player. Next we have Alexander Cartwright, the reclusive novelist. He's going to begin the game in Rio de Janeiro. He has some special abilities called Resourceful. When drawing an event card, he can draw 2 cards and keep 1, discarding the other. He also has Experience, and he can always exert to add extra adventure dice to a test, even if not in a cliffhanger, which is very valuable. His personal mission is Noble Pursuits. Sell an artifact at a minor city, and his reward will be to draw a gear card and an ally card. It's pretty good. The blue player is going to be Duke Dudley, British Lord. He's going to begin in London, England. His special abilities include Wealth. He's going to start the game with a gear card, which we've determined to be the Lantern. adds +2 adventure dice during any trap or puzzle test. He also begins with 1 fortune, so we're going to add that to our community total of fortune. And with 4 players, we need to amass a total of 40 in order to win the game. We need to do that before the villain track moves to 15. So we'll place that fortune in our vault here, and we've got our first piece of fortune. Duke Dudley's personal mission is going to be research magic, and he needs to recover a magic artifact. If he does, from now on, he's going to gain +2 adventure dice on all tests while at a magic adventure, and it's very valuable. His special ability also includes Patriot, and he's going to gain +2 fight dice when in a fight with a Nazi opponent, and that is going to be extremely valuable. Our fourth character is Li Mei Chen, nightclub singer, and she's going to start in Hong Kong. She's going to be our black player. Her special abilities are martial arts. While you are not using a gun, once per fight round, you may either re-roll all of your missed fight dice or force your opponent to re-roll one of their successful fight dice. So it's pretty valuable. She can use that martial arts in either an offensive or defensive capability. She also has stealth. Once per sneak test, she can re-roll a single die. Her personal mission is always prepared. Have any 3 gear cards at the same time, including common items. Her reward will be 1 fortune. And we're going to be opposing the Nazis. Nazis have 2 villains that we'll be facing. The first one is Herr Teufel. He is an occult specialist. His special abilities are knowledge. His adventure dice rolls of 6 will count as 2 successes during an adventure. He also has arcane lore. He's going to gain +1 combat for each artifact that the villains have. So as the Nazis acquire these artifacts, he's going to get stronger. Second villain is Colonel Stahl, and he is the Iron Fist. His special ability is ruthless. When searching, he gets a success on a 3+ and a wound on 1 or 2. Okay. Herr Teufel is going to begin deployed on the board at the highest valued artifact that is currently out there, and he's going to start with 2 bodyguards. Our starting artifacts are going to be the Orb of the Dark Fire. It has a fortune value of 3 and will require 4 dangers to be passed in order to acquire the object. The Orb of the Dark Fire is currently located somewhere in the Caribbean. It has a special ability here. It says during this adventure you are -1 agility. Then we have the Jar of Death. That has a value of 3, and that also will require 4 dangers to be passed in order to acquire the object. The Jar of Death is currently located somewhere in South Africa. It has a special ability. It says gain +1 glory for each danger overcome while on this adventure. Then we move on to the Crown of Shadows. That is currently located somewhere in Persia. It has a value of 4 and will require 5 dangers to be passed in order to acquire the object. It has a special ability, and it says gain 5 glory when collecting this artifact. That's great. And then finally we have the Spear of Zeus. That is currently located somewhere in the Great White North, and Herr Teufel has already deployed to that region, and he's searching for this object. That's the most valuable object of the 4. Has a value of 5 and will require 5 dangers to be passed in order to gain the object. Has a special ability. It says while at this adventure, cancel any event played during your adventure phase on a d6 roll of 3+. So our event cards won't be as effective there. So I think our initial strategy is going to, we'll keep Grant Jackson in the equatorial regions of the map. There is a mission directly next to him, and that is the Jar of Death, but South Africa doesn't have either jungle or desert, so he wouldn't gain his rough and tumble advantage there. He would gain it in the Caribbean for the Orb of the Dark Fire. So we might end up sending Grant there, depending upon his movement. And then we could have Alexander Cartwright go and take care of the mission in South Africa. As for Duke Dudley, I think what we're going to do is, depending upon his movement roll, we're going to try to get him to move to the Great White North and confront Herr Teufel. And we'll see if he can interfere with Herr Teufel gaining that artifact. And then as for Li Mei Chen, she can easily move into China and into Persia and attempt to go after the Crown of Shadows. So I think that's what we'll end up doing for our initial turn. So we'll begin with our initiative phase, and we're going to roll a die of each color, red, white, blue, and black, and that will instantly tell us who the player with the initiative will be. All right, we've got a tie here. We've got a 5 and a 1 and 2 6s, so we'll roll those off and find out who will have the initiative. And that's black, and that's going to be Li Mei Chen. So we're going to give Li Mei Chen the first player marker. Now, one of the players, the white player, which is Alexander Cartwright, he rolled a 1 during initiative, and that's going to entitle him to an event card draw. He has a special ability called Resourceful. When drawing an event, he can draw 2 and keep one of them. So we'll draw 2 events for him, and we'll see which one he wants. He's got Volcanic Eruption, and I don't think so. All right, Volcanic Eruption. Play on any hero, enemy, or villain in a mountain space. They immediately take d6 hits. Any temple there collapses on a d6 roll of 4+. Or play while in a mountain space during your adventure phase to gain 3 glory. The other card is I don't think so. Play to cancel an event card or villain event. That's a good card. Or play to cancel any city card on a d6 roll of 3+. I think we'll take that one because those villain cards are often very troublesome for us. So we're going to keep that one. And these cards go, when we're playing solitaire, we put these into a community pool and anyone can play those. All right. Next up is the movement phase, and starting with the first player, each hero is going to roll a d6 and he can move up to that amount rolled. So we'll roll all of our dice and assign the movement values. All right, Li Mei Chen has a 5. Duke Dudley has 4, Alexander Cartwright has 3, and Grant Jackson has 4. All right. So we'll begin with Li Mei Chen, our first player. She has 5 movement points. And I think we'll move her into China. And then she's going to move into Persia, where she's going to attempt this adventure, which is going to be the Crown of Shadows. All right, next up is Grant Jackson. He has 4 movement points. And I think what he's going to do is travel to the Caribbean. That is a jungle space, and he can gain a +1 adventure dice for his rough and tumble ability. So he'll spend 1 movement point leaving the port of Cape Town into South Atlantic. That's 2 movement points. And a 3rd movement point to enter the Caribbean. All right. Next up is Alexander Cartwright. He is in Rio de Janeiro. He has 3 movement points. And we're going to have him move to South Africa. He's going to leave the port, spending 2 movement points into the South Atlantic, and his 3rd movement point entering South Africa, where he is going to attempt the adventure, the Jar of Death. Finally, we have Duke Dudley. He is the blue player. He has 4 movement points, and that won't be enough to reach the Great White North. So I think what he will do is, I think he'll remain in London. I could do that. And then he'd be able to take a city adventure there, possibly investigating the docks. But the problem is he won't be moving any closer to the Great White North. So I think what he'll do is he'll do this. He'll move 1 movement point into the British Isles, and then he'll spend 3 movement points moving into the North Atlantic, and he'll have a sea adventure during the turn. So I think that's what we'll do. That'll put him within 1 movement point of the Great White North for the next turn. So we're going to begin with our adventure phase, beginning with the first player. That's Li Mei Chen. She's in Persia, and she's attempting to go after the Crown of Shadows. So Li is going after the Crown of Shadows, and it says the special ability of that artifact is she'll gain 5 glory if she collects the artifact. So she's going to begin, and we're going to draw a danger for her. She needs to complete 5 of them in order to get the artifact. And we'll draw a random danger card from the bottom of the deck. And this one is revealed to be a wild beast. Danger Animal Chase. Has a value of 4 glory if she can complete this. It says you have stumbled into the beast's hunting ground. Outrun it, outsmart it, or stand firm. And we have to choose one of those tests in order to take out the wild beast. Now, Li has a very powerful 5 agility. So the agility test is a 6+, and she would need 1 success to complete that. And I think we are going to try that. The 6 is pretty hard to do, but with 5 dice, we've got a decent chance at it. All right, so she's going to use the agility, and her current agility is 5. So she's going to get 5 dice. We're looking for a 6. Any 6 will complete this. Okay, here is the roll. And she's done it. She's got 2 6s, and that is going to complete that danger. And what we do now is this card is going to be left kind of in escrow. She has 4 glory. She can stop right now. She would gain 1 danger token for completing that. As a matter of fact, she gets that right now. So we'll give that to her. And she can quit. But if she wants to press on, we're risking the 4 glory from completing this danger. So I think she's going to continue on. And she already has 1 danger towards the 5 that she needs. We'll try another one. Here's the next danger, and this time it is a cargo plane mishap. Danger flying. It's worth 3 glory. Something's not right. Your flight has been sabotaged. Find a way out of this mid-air predicament. She needs to make a cunning 6+ roll, and she needs 1 success. Her cunning is a 3. All right, so she's going to get 3 dice for this test. I don't have any re-rolls for her, so that could be a problem. The community event card will not help us, so she's going to need to just try to get a 6 here and see what happens. And she's failed. All right, so she's going to lose the glory that she received for the wild beast danger. This card now is going to become a cliffhanger. And we'll flip that over and find out no parachutes. Cliffhanger flying. And she's going to have to address that in the next turn. So for right now, she has earned 1 danger towards the 5 that she needs. We'll move on now to Grant Jackson. He is in the Caribbean, and he is attempting to find the orb of the dark fire. Now, the Caribbean is a jungle terrain, so he's going to be able to utilize his rough and tumble ability. He's going to gain an extra adventure dice on tests while at a jungle or desert. All right, so Grant Jackson is attempting to find the orb of the dark fire. He's going to need to get 4 dangers completed to get the orb. It says during this adventure you are -1 agility. Okay. So we're going to draw a danger from the bottom of the deck and see what his first danger is. And that one is revealed to be Shadowy Castle. Danger, Fortress, Cult, Sneak. Has a glory value of 4. The dark keep on the hilltop stands tall against the grim sky. Find a way to sneak in or go knock and see if someone is home. He's going to have to perform a lore and cunning test, or he will have to fight the Order of the Crimson Hand. Well, in this case, Grant has a lore value of 3, but a cunning of only 2. So that's not so good. I think he might be better off with his 4 combat ability, and I think he's going to fight the Order of the Crimson Hand. So we're going to have him fight an Order of the Crimson Hand. And that enemy is Infantry, Crimson Hand, and Cult. Glory value of 4. Has 2 fight dice and 4 wound capacity. It says it's going to gain a fight dice for each wound that it has taken. If Grant wants to try to escape it, he'll have to pass an Agility 5 test with 2 successes. But I think he's going to start out with a combat against this Order of the Crimson Hand. So, Grant is going to have a total of combat of 4. That's going to earn him 4 dice. He also gains 1 for his Rough and Tumble. Has +1 adventure dice on any tests while at a jungle or desert space. Now, I don't know if that applies to combat, though. This says adventure dice. I'm going to have to check that out. And I looked it up, and no, he won't be eligible for that. It clearly says that he gains +1 adventure dice. These are going to be combat dice. So Grant is going to roll 4 dice for his combat value, and the Order of the Crimson Hand is going to get 2 of them. And we're looking for 4s, 5s, and 6s will cause hits. Okay, here is the roll. All right, Grant has done a total of 2 hits. And the Crimson Hand has done 1. So when we examine the card, Crimson Hand don't have any defense. So both of those hits are going to go through, and they're going to receive 2 wounds. Now it's going to raise their combat ability for the next round. Grant has a defense of 1, and that absorbs first hit done during each round of combat, so he takes no damage. And I think he's going to stick it out, and we will fight another round. But this time, Crimson Hand are going to get 2 extra combat dice because of the wounds they've taken. They get angry when they're wounded. So we will continue on. This will be round 2 of the combat. Grant's looking for 2 more hits to kill these things. And he's done it. He's got a total of 3 hits, and that is sufficient to take those Crimson Hand guys out. Crimson Hand has done a total of 4 hits to him. So, Crimson Hand are defeated, but Grant is going to end up taking, his defense will take out 1 of those hits, but he's going to take 3 wounds. And we'll add those to his card. He has a wound capacity of 6. So we'll give Grant 3 wounds, and the Order of the Crimson Hand is defeated. That's worth 4 glory. And I think what Grant is going to do is he is going to take his danger that he earned for completing that. We'll give him a danger token. And I think he's going to camp down. So he's going to earn the glory that he has earned thus far, which is the 4 from defeating the Crimson Hand. And he's able to fully heal. So we will fully heal him. And that's going to end his round. We'll give him 4 glory. So he earns 4 glory, and the Shadowy Castle is completed. We'll move on to Alexander Cartwright's adventure phase, and he's currently in South Africa, and he's going after the Jar of Death. So Alexander Cartwright arrives at the adventure site for the Jar of Death, and has a special ability. It says gain a glory for each danger overcome while on this adventure. He's going to need to complete 4 of them to gain the artifact, and we'll start with his first danger. His first danger is going to be a horse chase. Danger, animal chase, and has a glory value of 2. You'll have to ride faster if you want to catch up to the speeding truck. And his choice will either be an Agility 5+ test requiring 2 successes, or a Cunning 4+ test requiring 3. Well, Alexander Cartwright has an agility of 4, so I think we're going to use his agility, and we're going to need to get 5s or greater. And we'll start with his first roll here. As long as you get 1 success, you can re-roll all of them and continue on. Here's the roll. And he has 1 success. So we're going to give him a success token. And he can continue on. We'll re-roll those dice, and he needs 1 more now to pass this. Here's the roll. And he's failed. He has 3 4s and a 3. Well, let's see if he's got any special abilities here. It says he can always exert to add an extra adventure dice to a test, even if not in a cliffhanger. So I think he will do that. He's going to take a wound, and that will allow him to roll an extra adventure dice to see if he can pass this thing. So let's try that. Okay, here's the roll. He's got a 1. That's no help. We'll try another one. He'll take another wound, and he can re-roll that. We're looking for a 5 or better. He's done it. He's got a 6. So that will complete that adventure, and that's worth 2 glory. So that's going to give him the second success that he needs. He needed 2 of those. We'll convert that into a completed danger token. And I think he's going to camp down. He's got the 2 wounds there. So we will camp down. He's going to earn 2 glory for completing that horse chase, and he'll fully heal there. So I think that's what we'll do. Get rid of these wounds, and we'll give him 2 glory. He'll gain the 2 glory, and he has 1 danger completed out of the 4 he's going to need to find the Jar of Death. That's going to complete his adventure phase. And finally, we have Duke Dudley's adventure phase. Now, he's currently sailing in the North Atlantic, so he's going to take a sea adventure. We're going to roll a d6, and that will tell us what happens to him in the North Atlantic. On a result of 1, we're going to have to draw an enemy's card, and he'll have to fight that enemy. On a 2 or 3, it'll be uneventful travel. And on a 4, 5, or 6, he can gain an event card. And here's his sea adventure roll. He rolls a 3. So that is uneventful travel, and nothing will happen. That's going to end the adventure phase. Now we move on to the villain phase, and we're going to begin by drawing a villain event card, and we'll see what happens here. Card is revealed to be Hunter. Villain event upgrade. Play this card on a random villain in play, and he's going to gain +1 to his search, and that's going to remain in play. All right. Well, I think what we'll do is we'll take the 2 villains we have, we'll take their tokens, and we're going to shuffle those up, and we'll randomly draw one from a bag, and then that character will gain that upgrade. All right, so we've placed those tokens in this blue bag, and we will draw one and see what happens. See who gets the upgrade, and it's going to be Colonel Stahl. Okay, so Colonel Stahl is going to gain this upgrade, and we'll place that at the bottom of this display here, and that's going to give him a +1 search value. All right, we'll replace Herr Teufel's token on his card. That completes the villain event. We move on now to the Outpost and Zeppelins phase. All right. All right, we begin the Outpost and Zeppelin phase, and we have a War Zeppelin in the Andes. We're going to draw a location card and see where its destination is. And if it can reach that destination, it will deploy a Nazi soldier. It is attempting to get to the Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast is on it's French West Africa, across the Atlantic. So we're going to make a die roll and see the movement of the Zeppelin. All right, here's the Zeppelin's move roll. It's rolled a 4, so it has 4 movement points, and it's going to reach it. It'll move into the Amazon Falls, 1 point. 2 points to move into the South Atlantic, that's 3. And 4, it enters the Ivory Coast, where it is going to deploy a Nazi soldier. All right. Now we're going to make a die roll for the Nazi secret base in the Andes. And if we can roll a 4, 5, or 6, that secret base is going to deploy a Nazi soldier in a random location. Here is the roll. Result is a 1, so they are not successful. That's going to bring the outpost and Zeppelin step to a phase. Now it's the villain adventure step. And we'll begin with Herr Teufel. He is currently in the Great White North and he is seeking the Spear of Zeus. So Herr Teufel with his 2 bodyguards will deploy and attempt to locate the Spear of Zeus. It's currently somewhere in the Great White North. Herr Teufel has a search value of 4, and his special knowledge ability allows his adventure dice rolls of 6 to count as 2 successes. So we'll see what happens with this. He'll be rolling 4 dice. And here's his roll. He's looking for 4, 5s, and 6s. And he's got 2 successes, but he's also rolled 2 1s, and that means he's going to take 2 wounds. So he earns 2 successes towards finding that artifact. So we're going to give him 2 danger tokens, but he is going to take 2 wounds. And his wounds now are going to come off of his bodyguards. So each bodyguard is going to have to be sacrificed to take care of the wound damage. Now, Herr Teufel does not have any bodyguards there, and that's going to make his life a little rougher if we can get some of our heroes into the same space with him. He's going to lose 1 search die for each hero that is in his space. All right. All right, next up is going to be Colonel Stahl. He is currently at headquarters in Berlin, and he's ready. So he is going to deploy to the most valuable artifact on the board that does not already have a villain at that location. Examining our artifacts board, we find out that the Crown of Shadows, which is located in Persia, is the next most valuable artifact that does not have a villain deployed there already. So Colonel Stahl is going to deploy with 2 bodyguards to Persia, and we've got Li Mei Chen there. Now what I like to do is I like to keep the bodyguards on the villain's card, and that way we don't get confused whether those are Nazi soldiers or bodyguards. Bodyguards do not block the hero movement, but Nazi soldiers do. When they enter a space with a Nazi soldier, their movement ends. So I like to keep the bodyguards on the card, and that's a way to differentiate them from Nazi soldiers. So Colonel Stahl has deployed to Persia, and he's actively attempting to find the Crown of Shadows. That's going to complete the villain phase. We'd move on to the end phase, and in this phase we would replenish any artifacts if there were any missing artifacts on the board. There are not, and any heroes that were KO'd would recover. We have none of that situation happening, so we'll move on to a new round. So we'll begin our new round by making our initiative roll. Here's the roll. All right, the red player, which is Grant Jackson, has the highest roll, so he is going to have the first player marker, and we'll give that to him. Then we'll make our movement rolls. And in this case, Grant Jackson has a 5. Alexander Cartwright has 2. Duke Dudley has 2. And Li Mei Chen has 2. All right. All right, Grant Jackson is in the Caribbean. He's pursuing that orb of the dark fire. He already has 1 danger towards the 4 he needs, so he's going to remain where he is. He won't make any movements. Same thing will go for Alexander Cartwright. He is in South Africa. He's got 2 movement points, but he's attempting to find the Jar of Death, and he already has 1 danger towards the 4 that he needs. Duke Dudley is in the North Atlantic. He has 2 movement points, and he's going to use 1 of them to enter the Great White North, where he's going to contest Herr Teufel in search of the Spear of Zeus. And finally, we have Li Mei Chen. She is in Persia, and she can't move. She's in a cliffhanger. She's going to be in the cliffhanger, no parachutes. We'll move on now to the adventure phase, beginning with Grant Jackson. All right, Grant Jackson is in the jungles of the Caribbean, and he's attempting to pursue that orb of the dark fire. He's going to be at -1 agility during his adventures there. And he already has 1 danger towards the 4 that he needs in finding that. So we're going to continue on, and he's going to grab a new danger and see what that is. And this time it is a dark ritual. Danger, magic, sneak. It's a glory of 3. He has to either perform a cunning 4+ test, and this is a deadly test. Whenever those test marks are in bright red, that means we've got to get all of those in a single roll in order to pass it. Or he can perform a lore 5+ test, and he would need only 2 successes there. Grant Jackson has a lore of 3, and he would gain 1 for his rough and tumble ability because he's in the jungle. So I think we will try that. He's going to attempt a lore test. So he's going to get a total of 3 dice for his lore value and an extra 1 for his rough and tumble. So we'll see if he can pass this. He needs 2 successes. All right, looking for at least a 5. And he's got it. He's got a 5. That will give him 1 success. We'll mark him with a success token, but he needs 2 of them. So we get to re-roll now all of the dice in an attempt to get that next one. Here's the roll. And he's done it. He's easily done it. He's got 2 6s. That is going to give him an additional success token. And he's completed the dark ritual now. So we're going to convert that into a danger token. That's his 2nd. And this dark ritual is, for right now, worth 3 glory. And he has his choice now is to press on or camp down. Well, he doesn't have any wounds, so I think what we will do is he's going to press on, and we'll draw a new danger for him. We're risking the 3 glory that we've got from the dark ritual, though. Okay, here is the card. This time it is a maze of caves. Danger underground puzzle. Has a glory value of 3. Find your way through the cavernous maze or attempt to decipher the ancient markings scratched into the walls. He has to perform either a cunning 6+ test with 2 successes or a lore test 5+ with 2 successes. Well, I think Grant is going to take the lore test. He's going to gain 3 dice for his lore ability and 1 for the rough and tumble. So we will try that. And we're going to need a 5. 5s are greater. Here's the roll. And he has 1 success. So we will give him a success token, and we can re-roll these. We need 1 more. Okay, here's his next roll. And he's easily done it. He's got 3 successes there. That's going to convert that into another danger token. That's his 3rd. And we've completed the Maze of Caves. That's also worth 3 glory. So he's got 6 glory right now that he's risking if he keeps going. If he can complete 1 more danger, he's going to gain that orb of the dark fire. So I think we'll try it. And we'll draw another danger. This time it is an ancient trap. Danger, ancient trap. Glory of 2. The walls are lined with grotesque stone faces. As you proceed down the hall, you must draw on your knowledge of the ancient culture to determine which are traps to avoid and where it is safe to move. He needs a lore 4+ test. He needs 3 successes. So he will do that. His lore is 3. He gains 1 for his rough and tumble. So this shouldn't be too bad. We only need 4s here. Okay, here is the roll. And he's got 2 successes. That is great. We'll give him 2 success tokens towards the 3 that he's going to need. And now he can re-roll these dice. All we need is 1 4 and we're in good shape. Here's the roll. And he's done it. He's got 2 successes. That's going to convert that into his 4th danger. And he has recovered the Orb of the Dark Fire. That is awesome. So Grant Jackson has recovered the Orb of the Dark Fire. And he is also going to earn 6 glory for defeating the Dark Ritual and Maze of Caves. That's going to bring his glory up to a total of 10. That is great. We'll move on to Alexander Cartwright's adventure phase. He's in South Africa, and he has 1 success towards locating the Jar of Death. All right, so Alexander needs 3 more dangers to pass in order to acquire the Jar of Death. Now, this artifact says he's going to gain a glory for each danger overcome while on this adventure. So he should have gained an extra glory for that past turn, and I'm going to give him that now. That's his 3rd glory. We forgot about that. We'll draw another danger for him and see what the next one is, and this time it is Infiltrate a Mob Gala. Danger, Sneak, Social, Mob. Has a glory value of 5. A black tie event, big crowds and bigger bankrolls. Sneak in through the kitchen when the staff isn't looking, or talk your way past the goons at the front door. He's going to have to perform either an Agility 6+ test, requiring 2 successes, or a Cunning 5+ with 3 successes. Well, his Cunning isn't too good. He only has a 2 in Cunning, so I think we're going to try the Agility test. That's going to give him 4 dice towards this, but he needs 6s. All right, here is his roll. And he has 2 6s. That is absolutely awesome. He has passed the Infiltrate Mob Gala. That's worth 5 glory. And that's going to earn him another danger token. That's his 2nd. That is awesome. So, if he camps down, he can earn 5 glory right now, but if he presses on, he's risking it. Since he has no wounds, I think we will press on. And we'll try another danger. And this time, it is a sword fight. Danger, duel. Glory value of 3. Use your knowledge of fencing to outwit your opponents, or try to overpower him with brute force. We can either do a Lore 6+ test requiring 1 success, or a Combat 5+ test requiring 3 successes. It says you cannot use guns for this test. Well, he has a combat value of 3 and a lore value of 4. So that's a tough one. Well, I think he's going to try the combat test. His combat ability is 3, so that would give him 3 dice, and he's looking for 5s or better. So let's see what happens. Here's his roll. He has no successes. Well, he's going to use his experience, his special ability. It says he can exert and add an extra adventure dice to a test, even if not in a cliffhanger. So he will do that. He's going to take a wound and exert, and then we can roll another die here. He's got a 5, so he's got the success that he needed. So we're going to mark him with 1 success token, and then he can re-roll his original 3 dice now. Here's his combat portion. He's got no successes. Well, he's going to have to do that experience again, gaining a wound, and then allowing him an extra die. He did it. He's got a 6, so that's going to give him another success token. That's 2 of the 3 he needs, and now he can roll his 3 dice again. Here's the roll. And he's done it. He's got 3 6s, so he has passed that, and that's going to earn him another danger token. And the sword fight is over. So right now he has a total of 8 glory if he stops, but he only needs 1 more to gain that Jar of Death. And I think he is going to do it now. I also forgot about this. He gains +1 glory for each danger overcome. So he's already earned 2 glory already. So we'll mark him accordingly. He's up to 5 now. And I think he will. He'll press on. He's got 2 wounds though. And here is his next danger. And this time he enters a gambling den. Danger Luck Mob. Glory of 2. You find yourself in a smoky back alley gambling den in a high stakes game of cards. What could possibly go wrong? Choose a number between 1 and 6 and roll dice equal to your cunning. If any of the dice rolled on are your number, the danger is passed. If not, the test is failed and it goes to a cliffhanger. All right, he has a cunning of only 2. So we're going to have to pick a number, and he's going to get 2 die rolls. We'll have to think about this. Well, I've decided to select the number 2, and that's going to be our target number. He's going to get 2 dice for his cunning, and we're hoping to find a 2 result. Let's see what we get. And he's failed. He's got a 1 and a 4. Now, he can use his experience and exert, and I think he will try that. This is tough though. This is his 3rd wound, and we're going to try to roll a 2 now. It's a 3. We'll try another wound. That's his 4th wound, and we'll see if we can get a result of 2. And he failed. Cartwright has a total of 6 wound capacity, and he is right now at a total of 4. So our choice is to exert one more time in an attempt to get a 2. It's a 1 in 6 chance. Or we save some of his wound capacity for the cliffhanger. I think the smart play would probably be to accept the cliffhanger. So we'll do that. We're going to lose the glory that we earned from the infiltrating mob gala and sword fight. And this thing is now going to go into a cliffhanger. And let's see what that's going to be. Cliffhanger is going to be an out of luck cliffhanger fight mob. Nothing worse than a poor loser. He's going to have to do an agility 5+ test or fight mobsters at a +2 fight dice advantage for them. All right, that's what will happen next turn for him. He's got 4 wounds. All right, we'll move on to Duke Dudley. He is in the Great White North, and he's attempting to oppose Herr Teufel in their attempt at finding the Spear of Zeus. Let's see what happens. All right, so Duke Dudley is in the Great White North. He's attempting to find the Spear of Zeus, and Herr Teufel is also present. So we'll have to get him a danger, and this is his first danger on this artifact adventure. This time it is a nightclub rendezvous. Danger, treachery, femme fatale. Glory of 2. Discover the truth as you pick your way through the crowded nightclub to meet with your contact. Duke Dudley needs to perform a cunning 6+ test, and he needs 1 success. He has a cunning of 3. All right. All right, so he's going to be rolling 3 dice for this test, and he needs a 6. And he has failed. He's got a 1, a 3, and a 2. I have no re-rolls for him. His lantern won't help him. He only can use that on traps and puzzles. So we're going to be going to a cliffhanger. And the nightclub rendezvous is going to become a shootout. All right. We'll move on now to Li Mei Chen, and she's in a cliffhanger. And she's in Persia, and Colonel Stahl has appeared. All right, Li Mei Chen is in a cliffhanger, and it says no parachutes. And we're going to need to pass an agility 6+ test, and she's going to need 1 success. It says the controls are smashed, and all of the parachutes are gone. This is not good. Wait till the plane is low and jump to the treacherous waters before the plane impacts. All right, she has an agility value of 5. So that's going to give her 5 dice for this test. And we'll see if she can pass this. Here's the roll. She's done it. She's got 2 6s, more than enough to pass that. We're going to award her with an extra danger because she's completed the cliffhanger. Whenever you complete the cliffhanger, you automatically get the glory. It doesn't go into escrow, you get it right away. So she's going to gain her second danger token out of the 5 she needs, and she gains 3 glory right away for the no parachutes. That's great. Now, she's going to have to, if she wants to keep pressing on, she's going to have to sneak past Colonel Stahl. She currently does not have any wounds, so she could do it. She does have a special ability, Stealth, and that's once per sneak test she can re-roll a single die, so it might be a good opportunity for her. And I think she's going to try it. She's going to attempt to sneak past Colonel Stahl with his 2 bodyguards. And he has a search value of only 3, so he's going to get 3 dice, and we have to pick a search path now. And that's any number between 1 and 6. And for every value that we roll of that number, we have to fight a round of combat against him and his bodyguards. I'm going to select a search path of 5. So for every 5 that Colonel Stahl rolls, we have to fight a round of combat. His search value is a 3, and he gains 1 because of his upgrade, and he has that hunter ability, so he's going to be getting 4. All right, here is the roll. She rolls no 5s, so we have managed to sneak past Colonel Stahl and his bodyguards, and she can perform now her next danger. And we'll see what that is. And this time it is Agents of Evil. Danger, Villain, Sneak, glory of 4. It seems you're not the only one looking for this artifact. Draw a random villain and add them to the adventure. Well, we can't do that because we can only have 1 villain at an adventure. It says roll a sneak test to get past the villain. If successful, the danger is passed. If discovered, complete any fight rounds and then flip to the cliffhanger. So, in this case, we have to do another sneak test against Colonel Stahl. And I think we're going to pick that 5 again. That seemed pretty lucky for us, so she'll take Search Path 5. He's going to be rolling a total of 3 dice for his search ability and +1 for his upgrade. So he's got 4 dice. Any 5s, and we're going to go into a cliffhanger. And there is 1 5. All right, it says, if discovered, complete any fight rounds and then flip to the cliffhanger. All right, so we're going to have to fight a fight round against Colonel Stahl. All right. Colonel Stahl has a combat value of 5, and he gains 1 for each of the bodyguards, so he'll be rolling 7 dice for this fight round. Li Mei Chen has a combat value of 3, so that's going to give her 3 dice. And she does have that martial arts ability that allows her to re-roll all of her fight dice or force the opponent to re-roll one of their successes. So this is the fight round. Let's see what happens here. All right, well, Li Mei Chen has done no hits. She's got 2 3s and a 1. Colonel Stahl has done 2 hits. All right, 2 hits. And we can use her martial arts ability. And we're going to force him to re-roll one of his successes. We'll do that. And he's still got 1, so he's got 2 hits on her. And she has a defense of 1, so that's going to soak up 1 of those. And she's going to end up taking 1 wound in response. So she takes a wound, and now this becomes a cliffhanger. And that is hostage. All right, and we'll find out what happens in the next round. And so that is going to complete the adventure phase. We'll move on to the villain phase, and we're going to start with a villain event. And the villain event is revealed to be Tenacious. Villain event upgrade. Play this card, or this card plays on a random villain in play, and they're going to gain +1 to combat, and that'll remain in play. So we'll do the same thing. We're going to place the two villains' tokens into a bag, and we'll see who gets the villain upgrade. Now, before we do that, Grant Jackson has his personal library that he can use. He can activate that once per turn. And it says cancel an event or villain event on a D6 roll of 5+. So I think he's going to try using that. We might as well. It won't cost us anything to do it. So we will make a roll and see if we can get a 5+. He's done it. The 5+, we would activate the card. We would spend it by turning it sideways, but that's going to cancel that Tenacious card. That is awesome. And we'll move on now to the Outpost and Zeppelin step. We'll begin with the Zeppelin step, and we'll see where the destination of the Zeppelin is going to be. And this time it is in Russia. All right, we'll make a movement roll, and if that Zeppelin can reach Russia, it will deploy another Nazi soldier. We'll make the roll. Zeppelin has 5 movement points, and that's got a good chance of, I think, getting there. Let's take a look. Let's see. It could use 2 movement points to enter the Mediterranean, a 3rd point into Eastern Europe, and a 4th point into Russia. And so it's made it there, and it's going to deploy a Nazi soldier into Russia. Eventually, there are too many of those on the board, and we need to place a Nazi soldier, and we can't. The villain track will rise by 1 for each of those that we can't place. So we eventually have to start dealing with those. And now we have to make a roll for the Nazi secret base. On a 4, 5, or 6, they are going to deploy a soldier in a random location on the board. Here's the roll. They've got a 6, so we'll draw a location card and see where this soldier is going to be deployed. This time it's going to be in Eastern Europe. Oh boy. So a Nazi soldier is deployed into Eastern Europe. They're starting to take over. I should point out that this War Zeppelin, when it is in the same space or adjacent to a Nazi enemy or villain, it's going to provide a +2 die roll modifier for, or +2 fight dice for any battle that will occur either in the same space as the Zeppelin or within 1 space adjacent. So right now, this Zeppelin would be giving Colonel Stahl in Persia a +2 fight dice. So those are kind of dangerous. Now it's the villain adventure step, and we'll begin with Herr Teufel. He is in the Great White North with Duke Dudley, and they are pursuing the Spear of Zeus. All right, Herr Teufel is pursuing the Spear of Zeus. He currently has 2 dangers completed out of the 5 in order to gain that Spear of Zeus. Duke Dudley is in his space, and he has no bodyguards, so he's susceptible now to a -1 to his search rolls, because there's -1 for each adventurer in his space. He currently has a search value of 4, but it's going to be downgraded to a 3. So he'll be rolling 3 dice for his search. And here is his search roll. And he's got 2 successes, but 1 wound. So we'll give him 2 more success tokens, 2 more danger tokens. That's 4 of the 5 that he needs. So it looks like he's going to get this next turn, but he also gains a wound token. And Herr Teufel has no defense. Now, these wound rolls, when he's searching, are not, defense rolls don't work on those either way, but he does have a defense roll of 0. So if he gets into combat with Duke Dudley, he doesn't have any defense. But right now he's got 1 wound, and he's successfully past 4 of the 5 dangers required. All right, now we'll move on to Colonel Stahl and his villain adventure. He's currently in the space with Li Mei Chin, and we have to remember that the Zeppelin is now adjacent to him, so he's going to be gaining +2 fight dice if there's any fights. All right, Colonel Stahl and his 2 bodyguards are searching for the Crown of Shadows. He has a search value of 3, and even though Li Mei Chen is in his space, his bodyguards protect him from losing any search value. So he'll be rolling 3 dice. It says when searching, he's going to gain a success on a 3+, but wounds on a 1 or 2. So here we go. Here's his roll. And he's got 2 successes and 1 wound. So he is going to gain 2 danger tokens towards the 5 that he needs to acquire that object. And 1 wound has been taken, so he's going to lose 1 of his bodyguards. That goes back to the supply. And that's going to bring the villain adventure phase to a close. Now we move on to the end phase, and we have to replenish one of our artifacts. So we're going to be drawing an adventure and an artifact card and a location card. And we'll see what this new artifact is all about. This time we've got the Cup of Lost Souls. All right. The Cup of Lost Souls. And that has a value of 4 and it requires 4 dangers. There are no special abilities at this adventure. We'll pull a location card and see where this thing is going to appear at. This time it's in the Amazon jungle. It's in a deep jungle. It's going to be worth 2 extra fortune. So we're going to place 2 extra fortune on this. And we're going to have to reshuffle our location deck in the process. So in the deep jungles of the Amazon jungle, we have the Cup of Lost Souls. And I think I'm going to place the 2 extra fortune that we would gain from that in the space. That'll let us know that that location is more valuable. Now we're going to have to explore in order to find the adventure site. Whenever you're in a deep jungle, it's a jungle symbol with a red border. We have to gain an exploration token and then we'll roll a die. And on a 4, 5, or 6, we find the site. If we don't roll that, we gain an extra expedition token, and then we cannot undertake the adventure until we have found the location. The next time you would roll a die for each exploration token you have, and still looking for a 4, 5, or 6. And that is going to complete the round. So far, our adventurers have recovered 1 of the 40 fortune that they're going to need to win the game. But we've kept the villain track still at 0, so we're doing pretty well in that department. But Nazis have deployed quite a few Nazi soldiers to the board. And in addition, that Zeppelin is moving around wreaking havoc for us. We did recover, Grant Jackson recovered the orb of the dark fire in the Caribbean, so he could sell that. That would be great, and we'd definitely earn some fortune from that. And I think we're going to bring this episode to a close. I invite you to rejoin me for our next episode of Fortune and Glory, where our 4 heroes will be taking on the Nazis. In the meantime, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club signing off and wishing everyone a pleasant evening. Good night.